So I left off saying the Aramaic, and that didn't record. The ancient Aramaic, the Aramea, which should not be called Biblical Hebrew really. But before I get to this, I thought an important part to start is by showing you some ancient Egyptian meaning that I figured out in 2013. So here it is. We got Perx to divide, and we have Perxw or Perxw, which is flower or bloom. So the lonely guy is flowering or blooming. And let's see from 2014 what I had to say before we have the induction chant. And there may be some further notes that I figured out as far as the ritual at hand. It's interesting that Daniel is what is linked to that, but let me skip ahead here. But we have the chant, and the chant is capital H-E, just one capital H, then VXLIV, the second word LM, the third XZ, and then the capital UFIXZH, then IVRNV. So this 5-part demoniacus vama chant goes there. Someone say it 50 times. Instead of bringing a musical instrument or pounding a drum or something to that extent, or twanging a string to symbolize this. But instead, someone wait till they feel the change in their feeling. And some sense that we may want to consider or the banana, the scamony, the quassia, is that how you pronounce it? Hemlock, yew, pine, jalap, rue, parsley, cascara, sagrado, ivy, eucalyptus. The O and A gives it the second mode of music, A flat, Vairagian, and ash. The traditional would be C through D minor, involving knights and saturnal entities. Some sources say that dawn to sunrise, and the last 2 hours of the day. By that, we mean the 12 divisions of the day. If the day's 2 hours, or if the day's 23 hours, we're still looking at the last 2 of 12. And let's look at the ancient Aramaic, shall we, before we go on. And I already shared my 2011 experience, but I guess that's for this one. We have Perx, which is burst, bud, flourish, blossom. Oh, see, Perx is a flower. Bloom, grow, break, fly. Remember how Serpentine 666 said there was wings? Spring abroad, abundantly spread flower. Perk, whip, vigor, cruelty. I don't like to call this biblical Hebrew because nobody called it biblical Hebrew until the Jews were the only group that was left. We have perk, whip, rigor, cruelty. So the fact that it's harsh and stern and serious. Perch, spread, dung, spread out, horsemen, riding the pale horse. To perk, tear, break, breaking, tear away, rend, redeem, deliver, crossroad, booty, robbery, broth, and I suppose there's a series of crossroads in that one. Do you know how many there are? We have Rutschik, boil, pot, indict. We have Rakush, goods, substance, riches. Rukush, collect goods, get, gather, horse, mule, dromedary, beast. And before a closing ritual, there's bound to be some more to share here. And 2012. I'm not sure if there's an experience that I had. Oh, yes, there is, which makes it important to consider that. So let's share of my experience. November 29th. For November 29th, 5:46 to 7:43 p.m. From Quran 36:11 through 25, 37:91, 92, 154 to 156, 2:14 through 15, 3:27, 55, 92, 21, 29 through 49 through 50, 35, 18, 29, 62, 44, 21, 20, 57, 27 through 29, 62, 1 through 11, 67, 14 through 12 through 14, 102, 1 through 8. From the so-called New Testament, we have Acts 8, 9 through 15, 13, 6 through 12, 19, 18 through 20. 1 Timothy 4, 1 through 5. From Tanukh, the so-called Old Testament, we have Exodus 34, 4 through 7. 2 Samuel 19, 13 through 14. Debrium, that's Deuteronomy, right? 18, 9 through 22, and 326. We have Pahlot, is that Ecclesiastics? 7, 4, 9. We have Job 37, 7. We have Isaiah 65, 2 through 7. We have Proverbs 18, 1 through 9. And we have Ezekiel 8, 1 through 18. And 5:46 to 7:43 p.m. I felt the presence in the center of the circle and at the edges, on the sides, above and below. I was heady. Things were darker for a moment. I saw a three-dimensional electric blue pattern. I cried joyously. The room darkened again. And there was a different purple pattern. I was comfortably warm, blushing even. The room darkened, and the same electric blue pattern appeared. I rumbled inside. The tingling and the rush came down me. I trembled pleasantly, on and off, for at least an hour. At times, I felt like gentle electricity was going through me. I felt concentrated into a smaller spot. I was very content. My feelings and eyes went back to normal at 8:02 p.m. So, 19 minutes later. And before I go further, it is important that I get into the Latin. Let's go to the Latin. Furca is a fork or something two-pronged. Freco is to rub or rub down. Boro is peace or to bore. Fera is a wild animal, a wild beast, a sea monster. So, who sees this entity as a sea monster or some sort of wild beast? Of the constellation of the Great or Little Bear, Ferox or Ferox is in a good sense high-spirited, tantris, daring, warlike. Ferocious is fruitfully. Feria is holidays, festival, leisure. Oh, it's a pretty good one for Thanksgiving, isn't it? Fereo, to strike, smite. Pharaoh, to bear or carry. And chaos is the gulf of the lower world, the confused, shapeless mass out of which the universe is formed. Kirkas is trifle, the core of a pomegranate. We have Casso is to give way often or to hang back. Casa is a cutting or decision, a process of law. Casa, a hut, a cottage, a cabin. Cascas, old or primitive, so associated with the oldness of the thing. Caseas is a cheese. Casses, casses, a hunting net, a snare. Cassis, or casido, is a helmet. Casas, empty, devoid, deprived of. Cassius, one of the murderers of Caesar. Cassianus. Okay. Cassis longus, Ravila, a strict judgment. Judge, author of the Lex Cassia, Tabularia. Okay. Defeated and killed by Helveti. Oh, isn't there a Helveti Sufi order? I don't think that's what it refers to, a different Helveti. Cassius is an author of the first agrarian law, 485 BCE. So we have some Greek to consider. And we got Oikos, carry one's house with, the house. We have Foxos, with the pointed head. Well, no wonder why he has to be alone. People are going to make fun of his head, maybe. Frika, a shuddering, ruffling of the sea. We have Freaks, or Frika, awe or fear. Huios, what country or town. Kuios, of whom, whose. Okay, two more Latin things down in the middle there. I didn't expect any more Latin. And ancient Aramaic, I think. Ruchets, wash, washing, wash basin, trust, bathe. Pah, blow, scatter. Pah, blow, month, commandment, edge, according, word, whole, end, appointment, portion. A lot of holes in this one, maybe. Prash is a flea. Poo here, wither side. Apu here now. Maprukat is a neck. And I've Rich Tsa is washing. So I'm pretty sure I did all of that. So I am going to... I lost some of my previous workings and all that in just YouTube didn't process right. But let's repeat the chant again before we fade into the Enochian portion of this. Havax livlam kz afexa erund. Havax livlam kz afexa erund. Livlam kza kza erund. Livlam kza kza erund. Okay. Putting this in the brass lined vessel from the end of my childhood, I turn now to the Enochian Hexagram Ritual that I was working on, and if one will bear with me, I will likely... Let me show it to you first. So we're having some gestures. That's not Osiris risen, that's Osiris slain. Thank you very much. Risen would be like that. But again, I don't... It's about me, not Osiris. So I don't like to clamp that down onto it. But let's read this out a little bit here. Stand facing north, with feet together, left hand at your side, and right hand extended, and centered with wand or index finger in front of you. Face the east. Trace a clockwise unicursal drawn with one line, earth hexagram, as green. Start on the lower right-hand part and intone Bavsandiyan. Even more glorious is God, vibrating one syllable of the name you use with each angle of the earth hexagram. Then assume the sign of slain and intone Nyek Maya Perndivaoan Arkamasab Tiebieb Doalyamod Tiro. Behold, of everlasting truth, I will serve even in sorrow. May my or our sin die. Face the south and trace a clockwise unicursal hexagram and intone vibrating one syllable of the name you use for each angle of the fire hexagram, and then assume the sign of praise and intone Nikmathos diagio fall Yadlanga toglo pavgo atalho. Behold, ends offerings of giving things into cups. Face the west. Trace a clockwise unicursal water hexagram. Repeating the intonation, vibrating one syllable of the name for each angle of the water hexagram, and then assume the sign of risen. Miekmalos diagiyabofayadlanga toglo pavgo atalho. Face the north. Trace the clockwise unicursal spirit hexagram. Black starts at the top. Repeating the intonation, then assume the position of strength and power. Facing north in the center of facing north in the center of the circle. Assume slain position, unclenching the fist. Because the power, you want to have your hands go. Authority, power would be fist. Kaya Yaksaya, all. You rule in the south and know all.